In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use batch rename and how to get photos from your camera. Now, if you select one picture, you go up to Tools, and you say Batch Rename, which means you're going to rename a batch. Well, only one file will be processed, so there's no point in using Batch Rename at that point. So what you need to do is press Control A to select all of the photos within My Pictures, or wherever you're doing, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to press Control to deselect as I select each one to deselect the folders because I don't need to rename those. And I can choose right-click, Batch Rename, or I can choose this icon, Batch Rename. And I'm going to rename in the same folder. You can either move or copy if you wish. My text is going to say from Change Me to PS Basics. I'm going to use a sequence number. I don't have to. I can choose any of these if I want. Okay. I'm going to choose 3 digits. Doesn't have to be. You can be 1, 2, or 3. It's up to you. I'm going to put 001. You can add more fields by pressing the add sign or subtract them if you like. I'm not going to preserve the current file name because I don't understand it anyway, so why would I need to preserve it? Compatibility with Windows, of course, and Mac and Unix. And this is what it's going to show you, a preview. Here's the before, and here's the after. And most important, 73 files will be processed. Click Rename, and within a second, as you can tell, when I click off, you can see right here it's renamed, here it's renamed, and look at the sequence numbers, 1, 2, 3. That's great. Now let's learn how to get photos from the camera. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure your camera's off, plug your camera into your computer. Most people would recommend using a card reader, not your camera, because if your battery is low and you didn't notice or there's something faulty with the camera, you may lose all those pictures that you so patiently took over a month, a year, or how much time it took. So a card reader is my suggestion, but for this tutorial we're going to use a camera. I know that my battery is fully charged because I checked that, and now that my camera's plugged in, I'm going to turn it on. You're going to hear a sound, and that means my computer recognizes, hey, something's plugged into me. And I'm going to choose this icon, Get Photos from Camera, or I can choose File, Get Photos from Camera. It doesn't matter. It's going to ask me to select a device. I'm going to choose the D5000, which is the camera. It's going to say connecting to device, please wait. Now this may take some time. When it finally starts selecting all the photos, you'll see this change into the numbers, and you'll see this icon change into a thumbnail, as you can see here. Now we could talk about these choices here, but it would be better to use the advanced dialog, and you'll see why. If you want to change back to the standard dialog, go ahead and click that button, but we're not. We're going to choose advanced dialog. Notice here it says get photos from where? The camera. 356 files were displayed here. 356 are selected at a total of 3.5 gigabytes. Yikes. We have save options. We can choose a location, but I'm going to choose the same location as the pictures. This is something I like to do. I like to throw all my pictures in My Pictures and then sort them from there, so at least I know what I'm looking at. Like I have one big area, and then I use the keywords and everything and then divide them up. Okay, I can create a subfolder if I want. I'm not, so I'm going to choose none. I can rename the files. Yes. I can choose today's date, shot date. I'm going to choose a custom name, and I'm going to choose PS Basics. Okay, and I'm going to have a sequence starting with, I know that there were 73 selected, so I'm going to start with 100. So that way I know I'm safe and I don't accidentally overwrite or anything of that sort. I'm not going to preserve the current file name in XMP. I'm going to open Adobe Bridge. This says convert to DNG. What's interesting about this is from a preservation point. Now I have a Nikon and it has an NEF extension. Through the years and through the updates, maybe in a future time, I may not be able to open up those camera raw files because of the updates or whatever the reason it might be. So Adobe said, well, let's create a standard called DNG, digital negative, so that no matter what happens with the camera raw, at least this will stay stationary to where you can open it at any time in the future, such as like TIFF files. TIFF has been around for so long that you know for sure that if you save a photo in TIFF, which is a lossless compression, and you open it in 5 years, you know you can still open that photo, okay? Whereas JPEG, yeah, but JPEG compresses your photo, and each time you open and save it, you're losing information, and you don't want that. So TIFF is best, but if you're doing a RAW files, converting it to DNG is good. I'm not going to convert it to DNG in this lesson because the other files are in NEF, and I just want to keep it the same. Okay? This is delete original files. You can delete the original files from your camera if you're crazy. Personally, I want to make sure that everything gets into my computer. I can open the computer and make sure everything that I see, and then if I still can see it, I'm probably still not going to delete it. I'll probably wait a few days or weeks for some odd source just to make sure. You can save copies to an external drive or wherever else you'd like to save them just in case. And then you can apply a metadata, which we'll show you in a later lesson. And you can put your creator Chris, if I wanted to. My name is Chris, and I can choose a copyright symbol if I wanted to. Okay, now on this side it shows you the thumbnails of the photos that are in this camera. I can uncheck all, or I can check all of them, or I could uncheck them all and select each one. If I want to painstakingly go through 356 photos, I can do that, and I can scroll through them. Let me uncheck them all. Or I can drag a marquee out and select them this way, which will put a blue border around the photo, which then I can click, and this will check all those for me. Okay, let me uncheck again. I could select the first photo, shift click this photo, and it will select them all in between, and then click that check mark box, and that will select them for you. Okay, I'm going to uncheck, and then I'm just going to check them all. It isn't going to matter. Okay, then I'm going to say get photos, and as you see here, it's going to get all 356. It's going to copy the files. It's not going to delete them, and it's going to put them into that same folder, hopefully, as the My Pictures folder, and we're going to see in a second. Now, as you can see, it goes back to Bridge, and it shows that it's in My Pictures. If you see down here, you see that you have 432 items, 388 hidden, 1 selected, and it's doing the previews. It's generating them right now. It's going to take a little bit of time. And if I scroll down, you can start to see some of those photos that I initially were showing you, and the photos that we're going to be using in this session. Now that we have our photos, we've imported them either through the scanner, through Windows Explorer, through the camera. The next thing we need to do is to do a quick review to get rid of those pictures we don't need. And we're going to do that in the next lesson.